So welcome back. At this point, we want to begin styling the application to make it look a little better, give it more navigation and structure. So as you can see, some of the normalize has taken effect. The font has definitely changed since the last time we worked on the application. Now let's go back into Sublime Text and add some more styling to the app. So if we go back into Sublime Text, I went ahead and added the styling for docs css.scss, global.css.scss, normalize, and then obviously welcome. All this will be available to you, and there's obviously going to be directions on how you can add this to your application, all for free obviously. Now if you don't have SCSS syntax highlighting, the way to do this or to get it is to hold Command-Shift-P and you can type in SCSS and get it. You can also do it for Haml later on and get it that way. So right now let's begin working. Let's actually go back into the application and see if some of these style sheets, some of the styling has taken effect. So if we refresh this, we should get some difference. This is at least a good start. We'll begin adding some more styling to make this index page look better, and obviously the rest of the application as well. So right now we want to work on adding some navigation to our application and work on the application.html.erb file. That's responsible for the layout, and that's here. So instead of here, layouts, application.html.erb, the first thing we want to do is actually rename this to Haml. We want to make this a Haml document, and then if we still don't have syntax highlighting, we can go here and get syntax highlighting this way. So let's begin working on this document, and this is going to be HTML, and this is also going to be head, and right here we want a title, and this is going to be file cabinet, or you can name yours whatever way you want. I'm going to say your life's work. Perfect. And right here we're going to copy this without the tags, paste this in, and let's also do the same for the JavaScript here. Copy this. You also want to make sure the indentation is pretty much as I have it in my application as well. Haml has a habit of throwing errors when things are not aligned or spacing is not as accurate as we want it to be. So we can get rid of this for the moment. Right now we also want to work on the body, so it's going to be body. Right underneath body is going to be header class, or header I should say. And then right underneath here is going to be header inner. And this is where we're going to keep the logo or title of the application. In our case, it's going to be link to file cabinet. And we want to go obviously to the root path, and this is, we're going to give it an ID of, or actually we don't even need that at this point. So we also want a nav at this point, and the nav is going to be conditional on whether or not the person is signed in. So if the person is signed in, we want to display user signed in. We want to display the ability to create a document, the link to create a new document, and also the option to log out. So we link to create doc, and we're going to go new doc path, and you can get these paths by the way by going back to your terminal and running rake routes. You get a list of all the routes and that were created for the user, for the documents, and also the welcome controller that we did at the very beginning. So right here we're also going to do link to, and this is going to be sign out, and this is going to take us to the destroy user session path. This is one of those paths that we got for from devise. So it's going to be method delete. So this will be an HTTP request sent by your browser requesting that the user or that session be deleted for that user. And else we want only the option to log in. So if someone obviously is not logged in, we want the option to log in, and this is going to be login and it's going to take us to new user session path. There's actually a layout for login as well. If you go into devise, this is session, new, this is the login page that we got from devise. And let's actually just, we also want to add the these two, so it'll be the notice and the alert. So this will be at the bottom. Let's make sure everything is aligned. We want this to be with the header, and we're going to do p.notice, and this is going to be notice p.alert, and this is going to be alert. And we're also obviously going to add in the yield. The yield is where the entire application or all the other view files are rendered. This is the common template for the entire application, meaning these navigation and the link to file cabinet will be everywhere on every single page. So let's actually just get rid of everything else here. We don't need it. We can save this and go back into our browser and see if it's taken effect. So let's refresh. And it says there's an error. I imagine this is Haml indentation issues. So let's go back, and yeah, I believe we should make sure that these are all here. And let's save this and go back into our browser and refresh. Perfect. So, we actually haven't styled the file cabinet logo, so let's go back into Sublime Text, and here we're going to do ID, a logo. So let's save this, go back into our browser and refresh. We'll see we have the logo here. We also have the option to create a new document and to sign out. We still obviously need to style the index page. That's something we'll work on in just a bit. But before we even go to the index page, let's work on the welcome page. Obviously the user has signed in right now, so if we sign out, it takes us to this welcome page. We only have this placeholder at this point, so we want to get rid of it and give it some more styling. Let's go back into Sublime Text. The welcome page is here. This is what we want to work on. So let's actually close out this device and get rid of that as well. So here we want a div ID that's banner, and it's going to be banner content. And by the way, all of the styling here is available to you in the style sheet. So if you go to the welcome.css.scss, you'll see what exactly I'm referring to here. So h1 file cabinet, and right underneath that we want p tag. This is going to be your life's work. So your life's work, organized always. Perfect. And we also want a button asking or inviting the person to enter or log in. So we're going to do button link to, and this is going to be enter, and new user. This is going to be sign up essentially for the first time. So new user registration path, and right underneath here we want another div ID for callouts, callout inner wrapper, and then callout, and we want an h2 here, and this is going to be organize, and then we also want some filler text here just to essentially explain how the application works, things like that. Let's go back into our browser and get some filler text from Hipster Ipsum. Copy this, go back into Sublime Text, paste it in here, and at this point we also want a bottom CTA. So at the very bottom here we're going to add CTA, and we want a wrapper here as well, h2. It's going to say go ahead, sign up. We also want to add a break here so that there's some spacing between our h2 and the button at the bottom. It's going to be button here, and it's going to say link to, and this is going to be join now. So So just like above where we had a link or a button to enter, we're also going to have one here for new user registration path. Perfect. So let's save this. I should also say here at this point that I added an image to our application that's at the bottom here. So I dragged and dropped it into our folder, not into Sublime Text, but I actually opened up the folder, and in App Assets Images, you can drag and drop this image. This image with all the other style sheets will be available to you obviously as part of this course. There are instructions on how you can download them and add them to your application. You can copy and paste the style sheets the same way I did as well. So let's first save this page. Go back into the browser and refresh our welcome page. We'll see that there's this image in the middle. This is the description explaining how it works. This is a second invitation for the person to sign up. This is the first invitation, and this is like a quick catchphrase for what the application is and how it works. So our welcome page is relatively complete at this point. Let's go back into our terminal and let's do git status to see what we've done here. Git add, let's git commit with the message. This was add content, or actually add content to add styling, I should say, add styling to welcome and application.html.erb file. Close this. Perfect.